When I was 10 years old, my stepdad and mother divorced, and I was given the option on who I'd like to live with. I never knew my biological father at this point in my life, so I was 100% a mama's boy. I decided to live with my mother. I didn't realize it back then, but that was going to shape the rest of my future for the rest of my life, that decision right there. My mom being 100% broke and not having a job, we jumped from trailer park to trailer park. I do recall one trailer that we lived in, we got evicted out of it, and we came home one day and the doors were locked. My mother broke the window and had me crawl into the window so that I could bag up a few trash bags full of our clothes so that we could move to the next city. I was forced to go to several different schools within a short period of time. I was always forced to make new friends and struggle with making new friends at the age of 10 and not having a strong foundation of friends or anybody that I knew or played with at that young age. It was basically up to me to get myself up and get myself ready and go to the bus stop, and so it was essentially up to me to make that decision every day on whether or not I wanted to go to school or not, and so I often decided not to. My mother had a lot of guys that she called friends. There were a lot of men that came in and out of our lives, my mother and I. She considered them friends. I knew them as her boyfriends. These are some real low-life assholes. I do recall one guy, she had gotten a tattoo of her name on his shoulder. Her name was Tracy. And he actually suggested that I get that same exact tattoo in the same spot. Mind you, I'm 10 years old, so you could just kind of paint a picture of what these kind of guys were like. These were strung out, drug addict, trailer park assholes. I didn't realize it back then, but my mother was a drug addict. I would often find her naked in bed with strange men. They often smoked meth right in front of me, her and her drug friends. Back then I didn't know what it was, but it looked like a little glass pipe, and they would twirl it around, and they would ask me if they didn't mind them smoking a joint in the same room as me. And often, obviously me as a kid, I'm not going to say no. I was very intrigued by it, and I wanted to be involved in everything that the adults were doing. So of course I said yes. Oh yeah, you could smoke a J. I didn't know what a J was. They did all sorts of drugs in front of me. They got really drunk in front of me. And when I say they, it's my mother and her various drug addict friends. They were never the same friends. They were never the same men. They were always different people coming in and out of her life. They would have crazy conversations in front of me. They would often speak of their illegal activities that they planned on doing, how they planned on coming up, their next lick they were going to hit. There was a lot of sexual behavior done right in front of me as they were smoking meth and doing various other things. They would often, make out with each other and feel each other up right in front of me, and I was very, very confused by that. My mother and I rode around in a loaner car, and I later found out that she had defaulted on her payments almost right away, and so wherever we parked, we were forced to park in obscure ways in which that we couldn't get towed, so we would always have to park in front of another person or sideways in the driveway or something crazy like that to avoid getting towed at any moment's notice. We stole everything that we owned. She taught me how to steal at 10 years old, and I thought it was really fun and exciting. I got a lot of excitement and joy out of stealing, actually, because when my mother taught me how to steal, she taught me that it was a fun thing to do, that it's something that you do and nobody could find out about this, do it without anybody seeing. And so I just thought that was a little game that we played. We would go into Walmart and we would stuff our pockets full of smaller items. The larger items, we would get more creative with stealing. My mother went from trailer park to trailer park and from friend's house to friend's house, but we eventually ended up in a woman's shelter. This particular shelter was for abused women that had kids, and she had been abused in the past. I had witnessed her, get the shit beaten out of her by various men and women. But at this point in her life, she hadn't been beaten recently, and she didn't have a husband either. So we were clearly breaking the rules on this one. She lied to get into the shelter. There was a very strict rule on no drugs at the shelter. She broke that rule right away. Our stay ended with her arrest. She was arrested for selling Xanax to a 13-year-old. How that's even possible, I'm still to this day not sure. But I verified, I looked back at the documents, and that's why she was arrested, for selling Xanax to a 13-year-old. I was immediately placed into foster care, and I spent a lot of time in foster care. I cried myself to sleep every night, wondering when I would get to see my mother again. Hey guys, if my story resonated with you, if you were able to relate to my past and my struggles, subscribe to my channel. I will be posting more content related on how I was able to beat addiction, how I was able to conquer my past demons, and how I was able to live a more prosperous and fulfilling lifestyle.